Then I am recording. All right, everyone. So as I said, the number one resource that we have made available to you is our Pathways page on the TMD 55 website. So I've pasted that URL in the chat. It is just simply www.tmd, so Toastmasters District 55.org/pathways. So it's pretty easy just in case you forget. On here, you can see that we have a little snapshot of the levels in the project. And we also have divided up our resources based on which stage of Pathways you are in. So for both Algenis and Diane, you are getting started. These two earlier sections might be more helpful to you. So if you're not really familiar with the Toastmasters program, I suggest you read over the Navigator. It talks about what we do in a meeting, what the different roles are, how the program works, how you're going to progress. And we have two different versions of it. We have a PDF, or we have an online program that lets you click and open different boxes and go through a little bit more of an interactive program. If you're kind of old school like me, you just want a PDF that you can print and highlight. So that's what I did. I just printed, the Navigator. When you come to picking your path, I was telling you earlier before we got started that sometimes it's a challenge to know which one to do. And my favorite resource that we have is the catalog. And I'm just going to open this in a new tab so you can see what it is. But it has direct comparisons of the different offerings of each path. So once it loads, which will take just a minute here, you can see it has a summary of the first 10 paths. It does not include the humor path, which was just made available a month or two ago. So that one's not on here, but it does compare the first 10. And it has exactly what is required and what are elective options per path. So for me, I was debating between dynamic leadership and leadership development, and I wasn't sure what to do. So what I did is I took this paper and printed out and took the other one and printed out and went back and forth. Which one do I want to do? Do I want to do negotiating the best outcomes? Yes or no? And so I went through and put checks by them and then summed up the one with the most checks. And then I decided, you know, I'll do that one. But just in case, I still went online and took the assessment, and it did tell me to do this path. So I felt validated that I had made the right choice. But I also felt more that I had done the research and it wasn't just the quiz online. So if this is something that's interesting for you or for your club, we strongly suggest that you can print out the first pages 2 through 11. After that, it's a massive document. We have the descriptions for all of these projects. So say you're interested in level 3's delivering social speeches. If you click on it, you can get a very tiny little summary on what that project is. So we do have those pages, but like I said, it's 66-page document. We suggest just 2 through 11, which are those comparisons. And as you go through the program, we have other resources available as well. And the number one resource that we like is our Welcome to Toastmasters document. So this has step-by-step how to go through the program. So Algenis, you've already gone through your icebreaker, which is great. But for Diane, you might like this because it'll show you, first off, how to even get there, how to log in, how to choose which path you want to do, whether you want to do the online program or whether you want to do the paper method. Then it goes through taking that assessment, choosing your path, and starting to launch Basecamp. When you first go into the home page, you have several tiles, and we have a short description on what each of these tiles are so that you can more easily understand them. They are pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes you could get a little tripped up on the difference between my feedback and speech evaluations. So we do have descriptions here. And of course, we go through launching, how to get there, opening your curriculum, and launching a path. So that's where this document ends. We do have other documents that go through more of those stages, like completing a level, but this is the start that I think, Diane, would really help you. And you can see we even have how to get your DTM, your Distinguished Toastmaster Award. So if you do want to reach that achievement in Toastmasters, we have resources for that as well. So we go from just starting to the pinnacle of Toastmasters career. And again, if you scroll down, you'll see information on our trainings. You'll see a little bit of an FAQ, and you'll see the team, who we are, which areas we support, and how you can contact us. So for instance, here I am, Ava, I support Division J, and then that's my email. So if you guys are in Division J, please reach out to me. Even if you're not, you attended this training where I was teaching, so I don't mind if you reach out to me here as well. So are you ready to look at Basecamp? Are you still with me? I'm getting smiles, nods of encouragement.
I'm ready to look at Basecamp.
Awesome. So let's go there. The best way to go is by clicking on Pathways and just go to Basecamp. If you've already logged in, it'll send you directly there. If you haven't, it'll ask you to log in. So I simply already have my credentials here, so I click log on. And once it finishes loading, it will redirect me. Let me go to the home page. This is what you should see. Mine has a shortcut where it will send me exactly to where I want to go on my education transcript, because that's where I last left it. So here are these little tiles. They have since updated the tile for education transcript to say access your path to make it easier that that's what it's telling you to do. However, there are several other ways to get to your transcript without just clicking this tile. If you'd like, you can scroll down and you can see your education transcript here as well, where I can go right to my curriculum for dynamic leadership. So I can click there and boom, it opens up exactly where I was in my level. Or if I go back to the home page, I can click on the education transcript tile and it'll take me to my education transcript where I can open the curriculum from here. If you're curious to see what exactly is being offered and you want to see it in more of a linear fashion, you can click on the name of your path, not open curriculum, and you will get a transcript similar to a college or high school transcript. So here, you will see level 1 and my status. So I have completed level 1 and I am currently in the Introduction to Toastmasters mentoring project. So once I complete that, it'll say complete, and then I can process my level 2 completion request. So this is a great way to see what exactly I'm doing all right here. So depending on how you process information, this might be easier for you. Or perhaps this is too many words and it's a little confusing. So just know that there are different ways to see where you are and what you have left to do on your path. So if I want to go back, I can click home. I can click education transcript. And this time I'm going to open my curriculum. And I'll go to level 1 because this is where Janice is and where you will be, Diane, as soon as you pick your path. So there is something to note about the online program. There is a little catch that sometimes people miss. There is a pre-assessment, so a quiz that you do before you do your speech, and there's a quiz that you do after you give your speech. They want to use a benchmark system to find out how much you've learned. People tend to forget to go back in and relaunch that project to take that post-assessment. If you don't have a maroon check and the status does not say complete here, then unfortunately you haven't completed that last assessment. So just make sure that you always show a little maroon check before you move on to your next project. You can also track your progress by looking at the status bar that is included in each of the levels. So you can see here I have 2. I have 1 here and I have one here. The one on the left will be my total path level completion, while the one on the right is for that level. So because I've completed level 1, that one's 100%. But if I go over to level 2, you'll see I'm only at 50. Once I complete this project on Wednesday, it will be listed as 75. And then I complete my level completion request, which right now you see there's no button here. There will be one once this one's complete. And then that will go to 100, and this will increase as well. Any questions so far on launching or opening one of your levels or projects?
No, everything good. So far, so good.
Thank you, thank you. It's always good to have feedback. I don't want to be just up here chatting your ears off. All right. 1 second. I was going to sneeze. We're good. Okay. So something else that people have asked me is, where do I get my evaluation forms? Are they in the project? Do I print them? Do I get them? Does my evaluator get them? And so every speech that you do, you will have an evaluator. So I know you've only been to both three clubs. So you've probably seen a few of the evaluators so far. But depending on what your club does, it's either the speaker who gives the evaluation form to the evaluator, or it's the evaluator themselves that goes and prints it. If it's a speaker, it's a lot easier for them because they already have the evaluation form when they're launching their project. So for instance, if I launch my Toastmasters mentoring project, which is the one that I'm currently in, and keep in mind, you must have pop-ups enabled. Everything in Basecamp goes with pop-ups. So no pop-ups, no program. So make sure that you're not using a pop-up blocker, or if you are, that you list this site as safe. Also, I prefer Chrome. It seems to work a little better. So in here, you'll see that there's a navigation bar at the bottom where you can select where you want to go within that project. If you go to your evaluation, you will get to a page that looks like this. And on the side, it'll say evaluation resource or print your project. So if you want just that evaluation form, then you can click right here and print that off. Or if you like to print them off and highlight and make notes on the actual paper, I suggest just printing off your PDF. You don't have to print the whole thing. They tend to be about 30 pages or 20 pages, but you can if you would like. I save them as PDFs, and I actually view them on my computer separately than just in this module. So that way I can refer to it later. I've also put a few of them on my iPad so that I can refer to them just, when I'm out and about and I just want to take a moment to look. There is an easy way to find your evaluations as well. If you go back to the home page, you can click on that tile I was talking about that says speech evaluations. And your evaluator can get here as well. This will have every single evaluation resource for all 50 projects. And actually, there's probably a few more now that they introduced the humor path. You just have to know which speech you are on. So for me, if you're in mentoring, you can click on that one. Actually, this will be this one, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. Or if you're doing your icebreaker, you would need to find your icebreaker. So that will be right here. There's also another way to find it. They wanted us to be able to find our resources, so they made several ways, which tend to actually confuse more people. But once you know where to look, it's actually rather simple. So if I go up to my search bar and I just type in icebreaker, you'll see that several pop up. Now that's because there's several different languages. So you can see project description in French, evaluation in Spanish, and so and so. So I'll click right here on my evaluation resource for English. And then I can launch it. So right here, I have that exact resource that I need to give my evaluator, or if I'm an evaluator, I have the resource that I need to evaluate the speaker. You don't even have to go anywhere else. You can search straight from that homepage and find the resource that you need. Also, if you've forgotten how to do something, say you forgot how to launch a path or a project, you can go to project, launch a project. Come on. My little video boxes are in front. And you can see that there are trainings. And say you want to do online class trainings. I now have video trainings that tell me how to do certain things, how to complete a project, how to look at certain dashboards, looking at skills, how to use Basecamp. So if you forgot how to complete a project, you can click right here and you can watch that training. You can also go to the tutorials and resources tab, and there's several resources there that will help you navigate the program as well. I'll stop here for any questions before moving on. How do you guys feel so far? Is it confusing? Does it make sense? Is it scary?
Make a lot of sense for me now. I was really, I don't even know how to navigate very well the Toastmasters website. But
Yeah.
now it's making a little bit more sense for me.
Oh, I'm glad. Is that a question or a high five?
I have a question, please. On this, what you're talking about evaluation, I've been to these 3 meetings and we've had speakers each time. And so then the evaluator gives a evaluation. There's 2 usually. Okay. So are you talking about getting their evaluation of your speech and then downloading it into your path?
So I'm talking about giving them the form so that they can evaluate your speech. So they need to have the criteria on what your speech is about in order to evaluate you. And it does change depending on which project you're doing.
Okay, let's just talk about icebreakers since that's where probably most of us are. So what exactly do you give them for your icebreaker?
Let me show you. So I'm just going to type in icebreaker in the top, click on that evaluation resource, click launch. And this document that pops up right here, this is what you give your evaluator. It's 3 pages. The first says the purpose and some general comments that they can write about you. The second will be an evaluation form using numerical values with some comments, so you get both quantitative and qualitative data. And then the third will be that legend. How do you score which value? So that we can keep it consistent even through different evaluators. And so this is a document that you would give or that they would download. You just need to confirm with your club, with your VPE, what is expected. So in my club, it's the evaluator, or sorry, it's the speaker that prints it for the evaluator. In other clubs, it's the evaluator's job to go in and download. So it just depends on what you do in your club. Okay. So for you, you might need to print this off and give it to your evaluator that morning or right when you walk into the meeting.
Well, I think it would be nice to print anyway because it tells you definitely what you need to be doing.
Oh yeah, I was looking at this. So I'm doing one on mentoring, and I wanted to make sure I knew what I was getting evaluated on before I wrote my speech. It is
exactly. That's excellent, actually.
Yeah, it's really handy to have a copy of this right next to you when you're working on your speech, so at least you know. Because some of these questions do change depending on what your project is. So it's really good to know on, hey, there's several here on eye contact, on body language, so maybe I need to make sure to use that more and vice versa.
Okay, so then they give you their evaluation.
Yes.
Then how do you get it into the computer?
So first thing, you don't technically have to, but I strongly suggest it. Now I'll show you where you go. So from the home page, Again, we had these little tiles, and you have one that says My Feedback. You can click there, and then you'll find something up here that says ePortfolio. That is where you can go and load your documents.
Well, I don't remember seeing anybody write anything. They just get up and speak, but they do have a form.
Yeah.
And is it a form that the speaker gives them, or they have them just handy?
Yeah, it just depends. So the evaluator could print it. Yeah. So for us, for instance, our evaluators, some of them, the more experienced ones, will take notes on a piece of paper, and then they'll prepare. And when they get up there, they don't even take that paper with them. Our less experienced Toastmasters, they will take the paper, the form with them, and they will read off some of their comments. So it just depends on their level. It's very hard to give an evaluation without having your notes in front of you on what that person spoke about. I'm trying. It's something that our club's been trying to encourage. So it's a little challenging, but what I prefer to do is I write on a separate piece of paper, and then I fill out the form and give it to them by the end of the day.
At the end of the meeting, they're supposed to give it to you, and then you are responsible for getting it in here.
In my club. In other clubs, I have heard that the evaluator can actually use their phone or their tablet and write directly on the PDF.
Wow.
Email it, or that some of them actually take it back with them, scan it, and send it over. There are ways to do it both ways in the program. So for me, I think it should be the speaker's responsibility.
Well, yeah, because if the people aren't dependable and they don't do it, you don't get the credit.
Well, technically, you don't need an evaluation form to get credit for that project. There's no check that says, did you load it into the program?
Okay.
So for me, you can see that it says 0 right here. That's because I have a portfolio where all of my evaluation resources are. So we actually do ballots as well. So we have a little piece of paper with perforated lines. So I have little baby ones that I do want to scan. I have not had the time, and I'm finishing level 2 on Wednesday. So I have quite a few of these, and yet I haven't put them in here. But if you do click on the documents in your portfolio, you will see they've already created folders for you. So I already have a level 1 folder right here. I just need to scan and put it in here.
Does it have to be a document, or can it be a picture? I'm real big.
It could be a JPEG or so it can be a PNG, a JPEG, a PDF.
Or a DOC.
Yeah, probably. I haven't tried uploading a DOC.
It might be a PDF, actually.
Yeah, or a bitmap, whatever. A lot of the pictures and the PDF images will load. So even if you want, you can snap one with your phone as long as it's readable, and then upload it here as well.
Yeah, that's probably the fastest too.
Now, you talked about if perhaps the evaluator sends them the resource. So let me show you how they would do that. So the first thing is that you would need to find the club member. My favorite way to do it, simply go to the search at the top, type in their name. I don't even have to get very far. Only your club members will show up here. So if you want to give comments to a guest speaker who is not in your club, you can't do it, unfortunately, in the program. It's for the privacy so that not everyone can see all the comments. I kind of would rather be able to see everyone so I can talk to people in other clubs, but for this time being, it's just your club. So I start typing Louisa and she already pops up. So if I click on her name, I'll go to her profile. And from her profile, I can click on feedback and that top right here. And I can leave her a comment. So I can start typing like, Louisa, you rock, love you, yay. And then I can choose who I want to see that. So everyone means everyone in the club. Louisa, of course, is just her. And Louisa's manager means everyone who's a president, a secretary, and a VPE of your club. Those are the Basecamp managers. So president, secretary, VPE. So for this case, everyone in the club can see it, or maybe I'll do just her. and then I can click on the little paper clip. So I can give her that evaluation form that I filled out if I went home and I took a picture. The other thing that I can do, which is new to Pathways, is I can click this little medal button here and I can give her a medal. This is a separate award. So if your club does ribbons or trophies or special awards, this is a way to do that for people who didn't even speak. Say you had someone in your club who's recently stepped up for a role the past 3 weeks, and you think that they deserve an award. So you say, hey, look, I think you deserve the collaborative award. So you can give that to them and it'll show up in their profile for everyone in the club to see. And if you hover over them, it will give you a very, very tiny description on what those mean. Very, very tiny, but just to give you a little bit more details. So questions on the ePortfolio or the feedback tool?
Nope.
Someone's practicing. Doing a good job too. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my profile, and there's an easy way to do it. I can actually click on my little picture up here, and I strongly suggest that you load a picture. It just helps the rest of the members in your club get to know you. So I can click on my picture and I can go to my profile. So you can see here, of course, what club I'm in, because you should be in my club if you can see this, and what my role is. So this is a great way to get to know your officers, just in case you don't know them already. Hopefully they have pictures. If they don't, we can work on that. But we are trying to encourage everyone to have pictures. It just adds a little bit more humanity to an online program. And then you can see I can go to my feedback or my transcript from here as well. And you can see I have a little badge here that one of my club members gave me, which is super cute because I felt really excited. And the only downside about this is I didn't get an email. I did not receive any notification from the program that I got a badge. I just was showing on a different video call where to go and happened to see one. So just keep an eye on that. Hopefully as Toastmasters, as a Basecamp becomes more and more used, that they will start updating a few things. And one of them I would really love is those notifications. But just keep an eye on that because it is something really cool. Or if you do give someone feedback, maybe go mention to them that they should look at their profiles. Just subtly. And so I can actually comment on his comment if I'd like, or vice versa. Other people have commented on other people's comments, and we're starting chains in some of my club members, so it's kind of cool. Another thing I want to show you is just how to find your club. So there's 2 ways. You can type in the number, but if you don't remember your number, because I mean, who remembers a club number? I can just start typing my club, press enter, and here is everyone in my club. So I can scroll down, you can see none of them have pictures, but I know what they look like, thankfully.
Well, what if you don't have a clue what their name of the club is?
Well, when you go to your profile, the name of your club will be right here. So once you join Pathways,
Is it going to come through the membership?
I'm
It'll
sorry?
show that I joined that club because I paid my dues there.
Yeah. You should get a notice that, hey, you're now officially in that club. Another way to do it is when you go to, let me just pull up Toastmasters International for you. So Toastmasters.org will get you to normal Toastmasters International. And if I click on my name, so have you gotten this far yet? Have you logged in?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So the first step, and that is in that Welcome to Toastmasters document that we have. Let me just find that for you. Here it is. I'm going to put this in the chat. Did you find the chat box on the side?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you, there should be a little bar at the bottom of your screen that says mute video participants poll, share, and then there should be one that says ellipse with an ellipses.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
Okay,
if you click on that, I strongly suggest downloading that PDF I put in there. It has those instructions, but the first step, if you need to log into to Toastmasters and you haven't done it, so let me just log out for a second.
These are the first two you go to?
Yeah. So if I were you, so I'm you, and I've never been to Toastmasters International site, first I would type it in. I would click on login, and then I would click this button here that says forgot password. So if I need, this is how you can create a password if it's your first time logging in. So you would go forgot password, and you would type in the email. Now this is the email that you put on your application. So hopefully you remember. If not, just talk to your VP or your secretary or your president and just ask them if they can look it up for you, and they can. So once you do that, then you can log into the program. And they should tell you what the club name is, but if they don't, then once you log in, you'll see it says Welcome Ava. You can click on that, and that'll go to your profile within Toastmasters International, and you can see which club you're in here. So right on the side, it'll tell me that I'm in Dell Master Speakers, and when I joined, and what type of awards I have, and so on. This is also a great way to check whether your Vice President of Education has put in that you've completed a certain task. So when we were in that education transcript, you saw a button that said path completion request. When you click that, they get a notice that they have to check, and then they still have to go online to this program and say that you have it. So if you don't see a little distinction by your name, so mine says DL1, that means Dynamic Leadership 1. If you think you've completed something and you don't see it in here, and it's a full level, then you might want to talk to them. But that's a little bit down the road because we're just in icebreakers right now. But just something to keep in mind. It's always great to check what your profile looks like. You can see my picture. You can see the email I have on file. You can see the club. I can even see what my past education awards have been, what path I'm in. So just in case you forget anything, they're all right there in the program. But you have to log in first. The first step is to do that forgot password. Let's see. Here we go. Another thing you can do on your profile in Basecamp, so I've gone back to Basecamp page, is you can put when you've last done a role. So I obviously haven't updated it for a little bit of time, but it says that I was Toastmaster on 3/28 of 18, and I was an evaluator. So if you need credit for a role, part of part of project number 2 in level 1 is to be an evaluator. A good way to help your Vice President of Education just make sure that you've done that is to update that information within your profile. It's not really necessary, but it's just a good way to keep track of the latest roles that you've done just in case they haven't marked that. But if you use Easy Speak or Free Toast Host or one of these online programs, they see it there. Or maybe they do email. For us, we use a program called OneNote, and that's where we put what roles you want to do, and you can just sign up. So it has a record for our club. It just depends what your club uses. A lot of the things within Toastmasters are about different club preference. Mm-hmm.
I have another question. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize for the question.
Okay, the screen that you just put up a second ago, where were the 2 places you went? Well, I was trying to save it in bookmarks, and I missed the second one. Do you have the capability of putting it back on real quick?
The Toastmasters.org page?
I'm sorry?
Toastmasters.org?
No, I'm there, but you put something up on the screen, the first one to go to, and I bookmarked that, but then I was trying to get it in the right folder, and you kept going, and it disappeared. So what was the second one? Do you remember? One was pathway. The first one was pathway.
Yeah, the first one I gave you was this one, tmd55.org /
And not that one. Keep going. There were two links.
I gave you this document, the PDF.
Mm-hmm. Not that. It's on down. It was just a second ago.
Probably just Toastmasters.org. Just this one. Because this is how you get to your Basecamp program. This is how you can get to your login.
No, it was just two or three sentences back, and you had two links. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now I'm trying to.
I think I know what Diana's talking about, but I don't know how to say it. Yeah, right in there.
So maybe your profile?
And to show how to show your club.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something else.
Yeah, there were two links, hyperlinks, and I clicked one and saved it, but I missed the second one. That's all right. I'll find it.
Okay.
I think I know what you're talking about, Diane. I don't know how to say it, though.
Me either. That's all right.
You got the password login button?
No, not that.
After that.
I don't know. I logged in. I said login.
No, it's way further in your speech. That's all right. Please, I apologize for getting you off track.
Okay. Well, after perhaps when we finish up, we can go back and find it.
We
I'm
will.
not sure what it was, but hopefully it was somewhere. And then I just went to my profile here in Basecamp. Okay, well, that's actually primarily what I wanted to cover in this conversation. I can open up the floor now to any questions, or if there's anything that you'd like to ask about Toastmasters in general, how the program works, perhaps what it means to be a timer, what a grammarian is, maybe your club has a humorist. If you have any questions about the overall Toastmasters process or anything at all about the program, this is your time, the last 17 minutes here. I would just love to make sure that I'm answered anything that you need help with, whether it's Toastmasters in general or the online program. Could even be what my favorite color is. Whatever you guys want to know, I want to make sure that I can answer that for you. Yeah. Oh, look, you raised your hand. Yes. What would you like to know?
My question is more like based on your experience, because English is my second language. I have a very, very strong Spanish accent. And then one of the reasons that I joined Toastmaster first is because I'm doing a public speaking class in college. And then I found out by my teacher, they told me about Toastmaster, and then I visit my club, and then I really like all the stuff that they doing right there. And then I'm joined also because I want to improve my communication skill.
Right.
And then based on your experience, like, do you think that a person that English is his second language, could also like make way with the curriculum that Toastmaster is providing to everyone?
Yeah. So I work at Dell. We have a lot of members of my club in which English is not their first language. We have a lot from India, from Taiwan, China, and they've been using our program to learn how to enunciate, how to speak slower, louder, how to use the right words. And that's where it really becomes important, not just what path you do, but that you're in a club that enables great communication and a good environment. So we have an evaluator, we have our grammarian, and our grammarian will tell you, hey, for instance, you forgot the article. It's not dog, it's the dog, because depending on your language, you might not use articles or you use the wrong tense for that verb. So they'll tell you things like that as well, not just you use an or an. They could also let you know, your evaluator could let you know if they could hear you from the back of the room or if they understood what you were saying. So I've noticed one of our speakers, he has a very, very, very strong accent. And it was very challenging to understand what he was saying because he didn't speak very loudly. Oh, little man. And he didn't speak slow enough where we could understand. And you have to be conscientious of the fact that we might not be from the same country or understand the flavor to your words. And so for him, he had to slow it down more than a normal English speaker because he had to compensate for that accent. And I've watched him grow, and it's very exciting because not only can I understand his whole speech, but he's adding more humor and he's adding some colloquial phrases in there now, things that he didn't know before. They don't teach you that when you study English. They don't teach you what that phrase means or how to use it. And so it's really great to just be around other people speaking as well. So don't just focus on giving a speech, focus on listening to what other people are saying. And I would strongly encourage you to be an evaluator, to put yourself in a position where you have to listen very actively to what people are saying and just keep track of perhaps a phrase. And if you don't know it, ask them after. And that way you can expand your vocabulary and the way that you're speaking. So it's not just textbook English or perhaps a little bit more rudimentary. You can add more words in there to help develop that communication style. And then you can find what you like to use. But I strongly encourage you to stay with the Toastmasters program because it will help you not just in the college class, but it'll help you throughout your career as you move forward, because it is challenging. When you don't speak that language as your natural language, it's hard to know all of these words. And I have the conversation with my coworkers all the time. My team, I have 3 members that I work every day with that are from India, and their English is almost better than mine, but they don't know a lot of the phrases. So unfortunately, we had a improper Netflix and chill moment where if you know what that means, it's not a good workplace conversation. And one of my coworkers accidentally he said that he was watching Netflix and relaxing over the weekend, and he used that phrase, and we had to tell him what it actually meant, which is not watching Netflix and relaxing. So we have those conversations, and I have that every day. And these guys are, I mean, honestly, one of the guys has a PhD, so very, very intelligent. It's not his fault. It's not his mother tongue. So I really think Toastmasters is perfect for you. And I hope that you enjoy your time here and really take advantage of all the different opportunities.
And also don't feel like you're the only one that feels panicky and worried about what you say, because we may be speaking English for many, many years like myself. And I feel like I'm in sheer panic. So don't worry, you're not the only one.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I said, my mother, English was not her first language, and her English is better than mine. So it just depends on how large your vocabulary and how much you can fake it, perhaps.
And it just takes time. It just takes time and experience. You're going to do great. You're going to be fabulous. So don't be discouraged at all.
It's going to be a challenge for me, you know, like I want to keep doing it because I want to be able to communicate better, you know. I want to be able to understand better, and then I'm the kind of person that I like to help others, to teach what I know, and then I think if I can communicate better, and then I can pass that knowledge, you know, to everyone that is around me.
But you're to be commended because you're in the right place.
I mean, just the fact that you're trying to get better. I know a lot of people who just don't care, even people who speak English improperly, who don't seem to care if they're using correct correct terms. And so I think that you're trying to do this and trying to improve yourself is amazing and should be commended for sure. And I hope that you join Toastmasters and you're in here a long time and you become an officer and you go recruit other people, and it's my little dream. I want everyone to just do it as much as I do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the advice. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. And I know we still have some time left, but I just want to make sure that these guys know I'm serious when I say, please reach out to me. If you have any questions, just send me an email and be like, hey, what was that thing you showed me? I can't figure out where my evaluation form is. I know you showed me, but I can't find it. Just don't feel bad. Reach out to me, because I want to make sure that you guys are getting the help that you need. And anytime, if you have questions or if you just need someone to talk to and you're really confused, you can reach out to, I'm sure, Karen as well. Just both of us on here. We're just like you. We want to help, and we want to make sure that you're not lost in this process. So what else? Do we have other questions or other things that you guys would like to know? Diane, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Karen, do you have any questions?
Well, I just have comments, that going back to what we talked about a minute ago, Toastmasters is a really safe environment, and you get in a good club, which most of them are, you tell them what you need, they will give that to you.
Yeah.
They'll step up and customize whatever you need and help you through whatever you want to get through. So even if it's something they don't normally do, they will do it for you. It's one of the things I love about Toastmasters. And the other thing I wanted to just mention is, and Ava mentioned it earlier, is there's a lot of different ways to get to different places. And so some of it's just getting familiar with it, and it'll be a little bit of stumbling around, but I encourage you to just go in there and poke around and see what you see. And there's no way to mess it up, so you can just get kind of comfortable with it. And I guarantee you that it will all click for you someday, and it'll be a beautiful thing when that happens. So just stay with it.
Karen, you just reminded me that sometimes it's about clicking through the program, and I mentioned having pop-ups enabled. Well, what if you don't know if you have pop-ups enabled?
Right.
There's a button here that says check compatibility. So if you go here, and another thing about Basecamp to mention is that you always have to click on that drop down. So if you click here, nothing happens. You have to hover and click down on that little white box. It's a little unfortunate, but that's the way that this program's built. So come here and click check compatibility and give it a minute to run, and it'll run an analysis of your internet browser, and it'll pop up with 3 different colors. So whether it's green, which means it's good to go, whether it's yellow and it's like, I'm not really sure, or whether it's red. And if it's red, it normally doesn't like something. And you can click on that box, and it'll expand and tell you what's happening. So for me, it doesn't like my screen resolution, but it works just fine. However,
Tell you how to fix it.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, if you click on, it'll tell you how to go and fix it.
Yep.
Like, because I don't know how you do pop-up blocker.
Yeah, so right here, I clicked on pop-up blocker. So before, it just looked yellow and just like this. And I clicked on it, and it'll show me, hey, it looks like you've got some pop-up blocker enabled. So what you need to do is click on Chrome, go to settings, go to show advanced settings, go to privacy, and it'll actually tell you step by step how to do that. Oops. But it doesn't like it if you go there and then you have to go back. Well, hold on, where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, here it is. And it'll tell you how to get through that. Same with any of these, you can just expand them out by clicking. Again, I prefer Chrome. You can do this in Internet Explorer. I'm on a work computer and my hard drive is rather full, so Internet Explorer doesn't work too well. So Chrome seems to be the best way to go, but it just depends on what your browser is. I've used Safari, and I've also used just basic internet. I've used my phone, my tablet. It's better on a computer, but it can also be done on a tablet as well or a phone. You just have to tilt it landscape-wise if you're launching any project. Is that another question? Not you. My cat has a question, apparently. All right. Well, I've got 3 minutes left.
Thank you very much for dealing with us. It's really very informative and helpful. And I'm sorry I haven't come sooner. I never could remember to get it at the right time. So I thank you.
Well, I'm glad that you really valued from this. We try to help as much as we can, but we know that not everyone can attend these calls. So we are recording them and putting them on the website as well.
Oh, good.
So I've been a little, belligerent, to use a Toastmasters word. They're supposed to be on here, right here under the training. There's one recording. I have the link for the other two, and they just have not made it on here yet. So I need to make sure I go in and put them here. And then the link from today should be up. Should be up this weekend if I can stay on track. I get a little distracted and forget to put them on there. But there is one other one that you can watch. And if you ever become a Basecamp manager, so that president, secretary, or VPE, you can also view that training that we have recorded.
Okay.
I keep waiting to see her, but she's so cool.
Yeah, right?
It's like, where'd the little one go? I mean, my cat's not as adorable. I mean, he's pretty darn adorable, but. All right. Well, if that's it, then I just want to thank you again for attending this call and reiterate that if you have any questions that you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Karen, or you can just email whoever is in your division. And like I said, if you don't know your division, reach out to me. I don't care. I want to be here. I want to help. And we thank you very much for joining this call and wish you all the luck with your Toastmasters journey. And we can't wait to hear from you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for the information.
Bye.